Good.
Okay, I covered this exact material earlier today.
Oh, sweet.
Well, yeah. Um, all right, let's talk about completing the square.
Okay.
You did a lot of things right in this.
Okay.
First of all, this first step is perfect, except for one thing.
Uh-huh.
That is, you've set it equal to 0.
Oh, okay. Not equal to y.
Well, it's equal to
Oh,
y, exactly. In other
okay.
words, here, what's the standard format for Vertex format? Y equals
It's yeah, so it's y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k.
what? Yeah. So we're trying to get it into that format.
Okay,
Now, we're
that
not
makes sense.
trying to solve it. If we were trying
No.
to solve it, then we might set it equal to 0. But
Okay.
it's all we're trying to do is get it into this vertex format so we can identify h and k.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got down to this spot here, which is correct. Should say y equals x squared minus 16x plus 64 inside the parentheses, outside minus 62.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, you also correctly identified that as x minus h quantity squared minus 62.
Cool.
But notice we now have it in perfect vertex format.
Definitely.
You see the similarities.
Yeah.
Okay, what's A?
A is uh just one.
Correct. What's
Yeah.
the vertex?
And then the vertex would be 8 minus 62.
Correct. Very good.
Cool.
All right, let's look at the second one.
Okay.
Remember, we're not going to set these equal to 0. We're just going to try to put it into vertex format.
Okay.
Now, this is a little different in that it has a coefficient on the x squared term.
Right. Ooh, I think I know what to do for this one.
Okay, what?
So what we do is like we set up a chart, A times C on the left and then B on the right. Are you familiar with that?
Not that tough.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
Is it pretty easy?
The solution to this is not as complicated as you're describing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The directions are by completing the square. So we don't have
Yeah.
any choice on 49. We have to complete the square.
Okay.
Okay? Well,
Yeah.
one of the things about completing the square is you cannot do it until this coefficient is 1. Right now it's 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to
Yeah.
factor that out.
Yeah.
If I factor it out, notice, still have exactly what I started with. I've just
Yeah.
manipulated it. Okay?
Right.
Now I'm
Okay.
ready to complete the square because the x squared term has a 1 as a coefficient.
Yeah.
So how do I complete the square on this one?
So it would be y is equal to 2 times x squared plus 6x, and then it'd be plus 9.
Okay, when I type
And
that in
three.
there, how much do I add to the right side of the equation?
You have to subtract 9.
No?
Or wait.
How much,
Oh,
how much did I add? At the moment I wrote in plus 9, what happened to the right side of the equation? How much did it go up by?
it went up by minus 14.
Went up by 2 times 9, 18.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay. Yeah.
Right? In
Yeah.
other words,
Hmm.
when I went
Exactly.
from this step right there, where it's exactly
Hmm.
the same as the start,
Uh-huh.
the moment I wrote that in there, I just added 18 to the right side of the equation.
Right.
Not 9,
Okay.
but 9 times this number that I factored out.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
have to subtract 18.
Cool.
Now, what's the next line?
And then the next line would be y is equal to 2 times x plus 3 squared,
Yeah,
minus 23.
Good. What's the vertex?
-3, -23.
Good. All
Cool.
right. You're doing a lot
Sweet.
better. You're doing a lot better than my earlier student.
Oh, was he or she not doing it,
He
right?
did not do any of the problems on this page, and he sent me 5 pages. You have 4 more, don't you?
Yeah, I finished all of them,
Oh,
besides
good.
the other one I sent you,
Good.
so.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at 50.
Cool. Do I know the kid by chance?
I'm sorry,
Is
what?
it? Do I know the kid by chance?
I imagine he's
Does he have
probably in
Alonzo?
your class, or at least the
I
same
would think so.
teacher. Uh,
I would think so, because
Mark?
we all have.
You know Mark?
Yeah. Mark Daniels?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
He's not in my class, but I think he's in Alonzo.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't really been he worked with me all last year, and he hasn't really
Okay.
worked with me much at all this semester. Mark.
Okay.
And boy, you can see, you can tell why. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know how he hasn't worked with me, but he didn't know any of this stuff.
Oh,
But
jeez.
always keep that
They all.
between you and me.
Oh, I will. Yeah. No, I'm not going to be spreading that. But a lot of these kids wait till the last minute
They
to
do.
do it. It's
It's just
you
I don't know
can't
how
do it.
to stop it. I really don't.
I
It's
mean,
just
I started.
a human tendency.
Right. I
And
mean, I started like.
inevitably, before finals, people
Mhm.
will come out of the woodworks, schedule an hour session, and then give me 5 sheets of paper, which is the whole semester, which is like 4 hours worth of review.
All right.
And
And then
that
they
just
expect.
happens every time. Well, it's impossible to cover 5 hours,
Mhm.
4 hours worth of material in 1 hour, and I'm fully booked up. So just a
Exactly.
word of caution, make sure you book your sessions first or the second week of December. I don't know when your finals are. They're probably around the 15th.
I would think so. Yeah, because I think our last day is the 17th or 18th.
Yeah, so your finals are
Before
probably the
breaks.
15th or thereabouts.
Probably.
I'm
Yeah.
always fully booked the 3 days before finals.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so if you end up needing 4 hours worth of tutoring, you're not going to be able to get it
No.
uh,
No.
just because there's not enough hours in the day.
Right. And
All
you
right.
can't just. Yeah, you can't wait till last minute to do that much work. It's impossible.
It is. And
Mhm.
it's just a bad plan. They should be doing
Yeah.
an hour a week for the 4 weeks prior to the finals.
Right.
Then we could cover all the material. The problem, part of it is the teacher doesn't give the review packet out until a couple days before the final.
Which is.
Right,
I don't.
which isn't
I don't
enough
like that.
time to get it to do it 4 weeks before the final. But this packet that I got from Mark today that had 5 pages on it,
Mhm.
it would take 4 hours to go through this thing.
All right. We've had this packet since probably like a month and a half ago.
So there's
I mean,
no
yeah,
there's no lack of resource material for
no.
working on this stuff. All right,
Right.
look at fifth.
Cool.
This is
Okay.
a very, very common equation I'm sure you've seen
Mhm.
this
Oh yeah.
one before. This
Mhm.
is the height of anything that is being affected by gravity, and it's always equal to this equation. Notice that it's always minus 16t squared, right?
Yeah.
You've seen that
Mhm.
before.
Yeah.
Well,
For
v
sure.
sub 0 is the initial velocity,
Okay.
and tosses a penny up into the air above a 100-foot deep well with a velocity of 5 feet per second. Well, that velocity is this v sub 0.
Yeah.
That's what v sub 0 is. So let's fill in as much as we can.
Mhm.
That's 5.
Okay.
And then the height, the penny leaves the man's hand at a height of 4 feet above the ground. That's what h sub 0 is the height that it starts at.
That makes sense.
Okay?
Okay. Right.
So the 2 pieces of information they gave you allow you to write the equation of motion for this penny.
Mhm. Okay.
Notice
Cool.
that when t is equal to 0, the penny should be at 4 feet, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And it is. He
Mhm.
starts it at 4 feet. How long
Mhm.
will it take the penny to reach ground level? And this h right here,
Uh-huh.
that's the height above the ground.
Okay.
That's what it is at any point in time. And in
Okay.
case you forget, plug in 0 for t and see where it is. It's 4 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
So what has to be true when the penny reaches the ground?
Um,
What's the height going to be?
when it leaves the ground, it'd be,
No, when it reaches the ground.
oh, when it reaches the ground, 100 feet.
No, it's a
What?
100-foot deep well. It's
Well,
not what it's not asking you how long it'll take to reach the bottom of the well. It's asking you how long does it reach ground level. Ground level being where h is 0,
mhm.
right? If h is the ground level height, excuse me, h is the height of the penny at any point in time.
Yeah.
Well, ground level is a height of 0. So if I plug in 0 for h, I can
Mhm.
solve when it will be at ground level.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
Yeah.
how to factor that? Because this is a factoring problem.
Yeah.
First of
Um,
all, First of all, let's notice something. It's very difficult to factor quadratics when there's a negative coefficient there.
yeah.
It just,
Well, yeah.
okay? So the
Yeah.
best first starting thing is to turn that positive. Well, I can divide the whole right side by -1 and the left side by -1 to get
Okay.
this. Now I've got to factor it, and somehow, God, I hope they made this factorable. It'd be crazy if they didn't.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
what am I going to start? What am I going to try for starters?
Oh, you gotta find the greatest common factor.
Now, there's no greatest common factor. This is a typical quadratic.
Yeah.
In other words, it's rare that a quadratic has a greatest common factor because you
Yeah.
certainly can't factor any variable out. So you have
Right.
to find the greatest common factor between 16, 5, and 4, and there isn't any.
No.
Okay? So
Mhm.
the next step is to factor this thing. Break up the 16t squared. What two things
Okay.
multiplied together will equal 16t squared?
4.
4t.
4T. Yeah.
That's a good starting spot. That's not necessarily the answer, but a good starting spot.
Uh-huh.
And now, what are the signs?
Um, about subtraction.
Okay, first of all, if the signs are both the same, I'm going to have a positive there, not a negative.
Yeah, so it'd be a plus and a minus.
Yeah, remember one thing when you're factoring, is all
Mhm.
you're doing is unfoiling it.
Right.
Okay? Well, when
Okay.
you foil it, the last step of foil, the L step, is to
Mhm.
multiply the last things.
Mhm.
You can only produce a -4 if you multiply a plus times a minus. You can't produce it any other way. If the two
No.
signs are both plus or if the two signs are both minus, this would be a positive number. And it's
Okay.
not. Okay.
No.
So now, oh man, I can't believe they did this to you. Why did
Yeah.
they make it so hard?
I
Uh,
know.
there's no factors of 4 that are going to produce this middle term.
No.
I could make it 2 and 2, but 2 and 2 produce nothing as a middle term.
No.
4 and 1 produce 12 as a middle term.
Mhm.
So 4t and 4t doesn't work. So real quick, I'm going to try 16t and t.
Okay.
I mean, that might work.
Might, yeah.
But I definitely need to have the 4 multiplying the t and the 1 multiplying the 16, and that produces a number of 12. So
Okay.
there's no way this thing factors.
No.
The only way to come up with the solution is to run it through the quadratic formula.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And without wasting time, you do have an hour session tonight, but this is an hour's worth of material to cover. So
Yeah.
don't really want to spend time going through the, you know how to do the quadratic formula on this?
I believe so, yeah.
So what's t equal to? Let's get it started.
Okay, so it'd be,
T, it's whatever the variable is that's in there.
yeah.
So what's it going to be? We'll get it started and then we'll go to the next problem.
So it'd be t is equal to minus b, so it'd be 5t,
Not
or
t.
just 5 plus, or,
No,
yeah, just 5.
there's no t over here.
No.
Everything over here is just the coefficients,
Yeah.
not the variable.
Okay.
We're solving for t. We'd be in
Mhm.
big trouble if we had a t on the right side of the equation because I got one on the left side.
Mhm.
So you were right. It's plus 5 because that's
Mhm.
minus b.
Uh-huh.
Plus or minus what?
Minus 5 squared.
Which is 25.
Uh-huh. Minus 4 times 16, and then times minus 4.
Okay. All over.
2a, so 2 times 16.
Okay. And more I think about it, I'd like to see you do this one.
Okay.
What's inside the radical now?
Um,
Might need a calculator if you don't have one in front of you.
oh yeah, let me, do I have, it's not with me right now. Do you want me to go grab it?
I don't want you to do that. Here, let me tell you what it is. 16 times 16 is 256. So
Yeah.
the thing I wanted to make sure you did
Mm-hmm.
is this part first. That's the
Okay,
first step of solving the discriminant.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't want to do this whole thing in your calculator all at once because first of all, it's really easy to mistake that for subtraction. That is
For
not
sure.
minus 4. It's 4 times 16 times minus 4. So it's 25 minus 256, but it's a minus 256.
Right.
Right? In other words,
Okay.
4 times 16 times minus 4 is minus 256.
Mm-hmm.
Now that becomes 5 plus or minus, this becomes 281 all over 32. Let's see, 281. Why would they give you a ridiculously hard quadratic?
I don't know.
Makes no
A
sense.
lot. Yeah, Mr. Alonso's like that.
Well, it doesn't improve your learning above it. It just frustrates you, wastes time because it takes forever to do. And now we have to figure out whether we can simplify 281. Well, who the
Yeah.
hell knows if we can simplify it? Those digits add to 11, so I can't quite imagine what divides into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 9. 9 wouldn't divide into it.
No.
Even numbers wouldn't divide into it.
Mm-mm.
3 would not divide into it because the digits have to add up to a number that's divisible by 3.
Right.
5, no. 7, no. That
No.
might be its simplest form, so that might be the answer.
Yeah, I think that would be the answer.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
notice that one of those gives you a negative number, the minus part.
Yeah.
The square root of 281 is definitely greater than 5. So if I
Right.
take 5 minus the square root of 281, I got a negative numerator.
Okay.
Okay? Times can never be negative.
Mm-mm.
So you throw out the negative and you solve for the positive, and that's the time at which the penny reaches the ground level.
Okay.
Not the bottom of the well, but the ground level.
Right.
Now, part B.
Mm-hmm.
What should the height be? They're asking how long will it take the penny to reach the bottom of the well? Well, it's a 100-foot depth well. What does H need to be?
H needs to be 100.
Well, that'd be 100 feet over the well.
Yeah, so it'd be minus 100.
There you go. So
Yeah.
now I have to solve that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to move this 100 to the right side and then apply the quadratic formula again to
Okay.
see the positive time where the height of the penny reaches minus 100.
Okay.
Remember, when we're talking heights and parabolic motion, below the y-axis is a negative height.
Yeah.
In this problem right here, here's where the penny was, okay? It got flipped up in the air at a
Okay.
velocity of 5 feet per second,
Okay.
came down, and they wanted to know when that happens right there, when does it hit the ground level?
Mm-hmm.
And then they wanted to know when it hit the bottom of the well, which is minus 100.
Yeah.
So all you do is plug in those two values for H. In other words, there, H is 0. Here, H is negative 100. And solve by whatever method you can. In this case, it's the quadratic formula, which is beyond stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There's absolutely no reason to make this a quadratic that you can't solve by factoring. It's a
No.
plenty hard problem, and it teaches you everything you need to know about the problem.
Right.
Making it so that it requires the quadratic formula. All right, I will refrain
I'm
from
just
passing
hoping.
my judgment on your teacher.
No, you're fine. I just hope they don't make a problem like that on the test. I mean, they very well could, but it's
Well, as
just,
long as you know the quadratic formula, then
yeah.
it's a question of how much time you spend trying to factor it versus at what point you decide I'm just going to apply the quadratic formula and go from there.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number 51 and 52 are relatively difficult, but let's tackle them.
Okay.
They're telling you they want the equation of the parabola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's plot the two pieces of information they give us. The
Okay.
focus is at 0, 3. So that X marks the focus.
Okay.
The directrix is at Y equal minus 3.
Yeah.
Where's the vertex? Does it open up or does it open down? It's a
It'll open up.
Where's the
Huh?
vertex?
0, 3.
0, 0.
Oh, that's where. Okay.
That's where the vertex is.
Okay.
Okay? The reason is that the vertex has to be the same distance from the focus as it is the directrix.
Mm-hmm.
So the vertex is always going to be halfway in between those 2 points.
Okay.
Now, the definition of a parabola, and this is the tough part, is
Mm-hmm.
any point on the parabola is the same distance from the focus as it is the directrix.
Okay.
So let's pick a point right here. So that distance there, which I'm going to call D1,
Mm-hmm.
is the same as that distance there drawn perpendicularly, which I'm going to call D2. May not look the same, but it's the same.
Oh yeah, that is confusing. Okay.
Well, here, let me do this a little different. Let me draw
Oh,
that.
you're fine. No, it's
Well, I
just.
didn't draw it very good. Let me draw it a little more accurate.
Oh no. Yeah, no worries. It's just a concept that's confusing, not your
Well,
drawing.
that's the official definition of a parabola,
Yeah.
is that it is the locus of points where every point on the parabola, on the
Mhm.
line, is the same distance from the focus as it is to the directrix.
Okay.
So D1 has to equal D2.
Okay.
Now, the confusing part about this is
Mhm.
the fact that I've just picked a random point here and called it x comma y.
Yeah.
I don't know what that point is. I don't care. I could have put the point down there.
Okay.
What I do know is the distance from the focus to whatever point I pick is the same as the distance from that point to the directrix.
Okay.
Okay? What is the distance formula?
Um.
What is distance equal to?
Let me think. It's
Square root of,
yeah. So it's d is equal to. Oh man, I can't forgot this one.
well, it's like the hypotenuse of a right triangle.
Oh, that's
That's
right. Okay.
basically the way to memorize it, is it's
Yeah.
very similar to the hypotenuse of a right triangle.
Okay.
In other words, it's equal to the square root of the sum of the squares. Because
Okay.
I could always make a right triangle out of that, right?
Right.
Notice that D1 is now the hypotenuse of that little right triangle I made. And
Mhm.
one of the sides is the distance between x and 0. And the other side is the distance between y and 3.
Okay.
Okay? So for D1, what is D1 going to be equal to?
It- Um.
What's what's x sub 1?
Um.
We'll call this x sub 2 and this y sub 2.
Okay.
What's x sub 1?
X of 1
What's the
is
x coordinate
0.
of this point that we're going to?
0 comma
0.
3.
0.
0.
X
Just 0.
coordinate is 0.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's x sub 2 minus 0. We're going to square that.
Okay.
Plus y sub 2. What's the y coordinate of the focus?
3.
So that's what that distance is. What's
Okay.
the distance? What's D2?
D2 is 0, 0.
First of all, tell me what this distance right here is. From there to there.
Uh, from there is 3.
It's y. It's not 3.
Just Y.
Yeah, 3 is way down here.
Yeah.
We're up here.
So
I've
just
called it x comma y. Well, that means this distance is y, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, how about this distance here?
X.
It's 3.
Oh.
I got to go
Yeah.
down 3 units
Makes
to
sense.
get to this directrix.
Right.
So this is 3. This is y. What is D2 equal to?
Um, D2 is equal to Y
Plus 3.
plus 3. Yeah.
Very important you understand that.
Yeah.
In other words, this arbitrary point that I picked on the parabola,
Mm-hmm.
x comma y. Well, y is the distance above the x-axis, right?
Right.
So y is just this distance. That's it.
Okay.
That's what y is.
Okay.
If I want the distance all the way to the directrix, I got to take y and add 3 to it.
Mm-hmm.
So D2 is merely y plus 3. I don't even need to use the distance formula because it's not a slanted line, it's a vertical line. And
Okay.
vertical lines is all I need is the distance between the y coordinates.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now we have everything we need. we know that we have to solve this equation.
Yeah.
Well, so this d1, which boils down to x squared plus y minus 3 squared,
Uh-huh.
all of that is equal to y plus 3. In other words, d1 is equal to d2.
Okay.
Okay? Now how do we
Yeah.
solve that?
Um, let's see. We need to get rid of the,
Solve it. I wouldn't say solve it. What we'd like to end up with a parabola. In other words, a y equal x squared kind of equation. Well, we're
okay.
well on our way. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Well, how do I simplify this so I can move forward on this equation? When you got a square root, what can you do to get rid of the radical sign?
Multiply.
Square both sides.
Yeah.
Not multiply.
Alright, just square it, yeah.
Square both sides. Well, when I square the left, I just remove the radical sign.
Mm-hmm.
What do I get when I square the right?
Y squared plus 9.
No.
No, that's not right.
The reason I laughed is because everybody says that.
Do they?
Yeah, everybody. I don't
Okay.
know why.
Yeah.
You know, and here's what you're doing. You're multiplying y plus 3 times y plus 3. You have to FOIL that. You can't just say y squared plus 9.
No.
What do you get when you FOIL that?
You get y squared plus 6y plus 9.
Notice the difference.
Yeah.
That's a gigantic difference.
That's a huge difference.
You cannot get it correct if you say y squared plus 9. You're missing this 6y term here.
Okay.
Now, expand the left by applying y minus 3 squared. What do you get?
You get x squared plus y squared minus 6y plus minus 9.
Plus 9.
Plus 9, yeah, plus 9.
Okay, now I can do some heavy-duty canceling.
Okay.
What can I cancel?
You can cancel the 6y's
Well,
and...
this a negative, this a positive. Can't cancel those.
the 9's.
If I add 6y to both sides, I end up with 12y over here.
True, yeah.
But there's a plus y squared, there's a plus y squared.
Yeah, those cancel.
There's a plus 9, there's a plus 9.
Yeah.
Now if I move the 6y over, I get x squared equals 12y. Well, that's the equation of a parabola.
Yeah, definitely.
Y equal x squared.
Okay.
Now, one thing that Mark could not tell me, which is a little scary, is tell me which is the equation that you have been taught. Is it this or is it this?
The second one.
Okay, and if you've learned the second one, then you have to know how to convert A to P. A is equal to 4P.
Yeah, A is equal
Excuse
to
me,
1.
A is equal to 1 divided by 4P.
Yeah.
And actually, we're done with the problem. The questions I just asked you have more to do with 53 and 54.
Oh, okay.
Which I think we should jump to at the moment.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Rather than doing 52. These, using the distance formula to write an equation of the parabola, those are going to be the hardest problems you get.
For sure.
I hate
those are
all of our time on that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go to 53. We'll get back and do 52 if we still have time. But I'm going to go to 53.
Alright, cool.
What kind of parabola is that? You got 4 different kinds of parabolas. You got the ones that open up, you got the ones that open down, you got the ones that open to the horizontal ones that open to the right, and you got horizontal ones that open to the left.
Right, and this one would be open up or an open down.
Good.
Yeah.
So this one is going to be like that.
Yeah.
Where's the
Side.
vertex?
Um. Let's see. Yeah.
Remember what your standard equation of a vertex format is. Don't forget
Mhm.
this.
Yeah. No.
You knew this when the first time I asked you.
Yeah.
Okay.
A times x minus
Well,
h.
with this red equation, what's h and k?
H and k are 1, -1, -32.
No,
No.
that is a.
Okay.
H is 0 and k is 0,
Okay.
making the vertex at the origin.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the kind of parabola we have. We know it opens down and we know the vertex is at the origin.
Yeah.
And we have to find the focus and the directrix and the line of symmetry. Well,
Which
the line of
is
symmetry
0.
is pretty easy. What's the line
Yeah.
of symmetry? What's the equation of that line?
It would be
Vertical
y.
lines. What are the equations of vertical lines?
X is equal to 0.
Very good. Everybody else says y.
No.
Because it's the y-axis. That's why
Exactly.
everybody else says y. Just because it's the y-axis doesn't mean it's defined in terms of y. It's defined as x equals 0.
Right.
Okay. Now, what we need to know is the relationship between A and P. P being the distance from the vertex to the focus. In
Okay.
other words, P is this distance right there, from there to there. Same
Okay.
distance as from the vertex to the directrix. That's also P. This P is going to be negative, that P is going to be positive.
Okay.
The most important formula you can know, if they're working from that as your standard format,
Mhm.
which I don't really like, but I can live with,
Yeah.
well, A is equal to 1 over 4P. That's what you need to memorize.
Okay. Yeah.
Which makes P equal to what? If you manipulate
Um,
that equation and solve it for P, what do you get?
-32.
No, hold on. Solve this equation for P. That's all I want you to do.
Okay.
How do you solve that equation for P?
Hmm. Um,
Multiply both sides by P and divide both sides by A. And then you
uh,
get P equals 1 over 4A.
okay.
Okay, and we know what A is. What is A?
A is -1 over 32.
Okay,
Mhm.
so P is equal to 1 over 4 times -1 over 32. This is the reason I don't particularly like this general format, is because a lot of people have trouble with solving that.
Right.
And if they wrote it in
Yeah.
the newer format, you don't end up having a fraction in the denominator.
Mm-mm.
How do you solve that? As long as
Um,
you're working in your format, you got to know how to do this.
yeah, so we would do 4 times -32.
Okay, well, that's first step. So we got
Mhm.
1 over minus 4 over 32.
Mhm. And then it would be, hold on.
How do you divide by a fraction?
Um, you do the opposite.
Which
So you multiply, right?
I
So
don't
you
know what
mul
that means.
Okay, so you'd multiply it,
By the reciprocal, not the opposite.
right.
I don't know what
No.
opposite means.
Oh, okay.
That really has no mathematical meaning. Reciprocal does.
Okay.
In other words, this is the same as multiplying the numerator times flipping the denominator.
Mhm.
Well, 1 times anything is anything, and minus 32 over 4 ends up being minus 8.
Okay.
So that's what P is minus 8.
Okay, that
All
makes
right?
sense.
And notice that this is the easiest way to solve for it, but what that tells us is that that's minus 8.
Yeah.
0 comma minus 8. But
Yep.
the y coordinate is minus 8. So what's the equation of the directrix?
Y is equal to would it just be minus 8?
Look at it. Does it look
Or
at minus 8?
no. Well, wait.
It's above the x-axis, right? We're talking about
Yeah,
this line right
it
here.
should be plus 8, yeah.
Okay, that's the equation of the directrix. It is
Okay.
always an equal distance from the vertex as the focus is. Well, the focus is 8 units down, therefore the directrix is 8 units up.
Okay.
And it's a
Right.
horizontal line, so we know it's a y equals something. It's got to be a positive. Anything above the x-axis is a positive y.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's y equal 8. That's the directrix. The focus is at 0 comma 8. And the line of, or the axis of symmetry is, as you already said, x equals 0.
Cool.
And that's the only 3 things they asked for. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
your entire math career, you've dealt with quadratics being this format. It's either facing up or facing down, right? It's vertical parabolas.
Right. If
Well,
it's x is equal to y squared, then it's
that's the horizontal
uh,
ones.
yeah.
In other words, you have to recognize when you're looking at a horizontal parabola. And the thing
Exactly.
to look for is if the squared variable is y, it's not the same as you've been looking at your whole life.
Okay.
So this has to be horizontal. Okay, well, other than that, that's all we need to know. A is still 1 over 4p. That doesn't change.
Okay.
But here is one thing that changes. It's horizontal opening to the left. It does go through the vertex is at the origin still. Because there's nothing being added or subtracted from the y, and there's nothing being added or subtracted from the x.
Right.
So it's at the origin. So it looks to me like you're not going to get problems with parabolas that are not at the origin here.
No.
Both of these, 51 and 52, had the vertex at the origin, and both of these have the vertex at the origin.
Right.
Makes things a lot nicer. It's much simpler working with vertexes that are at the origin.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
Cool.
so what's the line of symmetry? We'll start at the last question.
Okay. So the line of symmetry would be y is equal to 0.
Good.
Cool.
Okay, so now we have to have the focus, and we need to find the directrix, which is now a vertical line.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do we know about this? We know A is minus 1/16.
Yeah.
Okay, so if A is minus 1/16, what's the equation that relates A and P?
So it'd be a is equal to minus 1/16
Hold on.
time, or
What's the
yeah.
general formula?
Oh, a
Always.
is equal to 1 over 4p.
Okay, I'd like to see you start every single problem with the general.
Okay.
Don't immediately jump in and start plugging in stuff.
Yeah, so it'd be,
We're trying to solve for P, not A.
no.
So first of all, what's P?
p is,
Solve that for P.
yeah, so p is equal to 1 over 4 times 16.
4 times A.
Yeah. Yeah.
If A is equal to 1 over 4P, then P is also equal to 1 over 4A.
Yeah.
And this is what you need. to solve for p.
Okay.
Okay? So, again, we're going to have a fraction in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
A is minus 1/16.
Uh-huh.
Now we just have to solve for that.
Uh-huh.
So that starts out being 1 over minus 4/16. What's that equal?
Yeah. And then that'd be equal to 16 times minus 4, right?
No,
Well, 16.
flip and multiply.
Yeah, so it'd be 16 over minus 4.
Correct.
Okay. Which is 6 minus 4. Minus 4. Yeah.
In other words, you're never going to give an answer like that.
No.
You're always going to simplify it. Well, great. We know where P is. And it's got a minus sign, which we knew it needed to have because we knew we were to the left of the y-axis. Yeah. So
right.
That coordinate is minus 4 comma 0. That's your focus.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they want, is a coordinate on your focus. An x and a y coordinate, not just P. You can't just say P is minus 4. You have to actually label the x and y coordinate of the focus. Now, the third part of the question is, what's the equation of the directrix?
Positive 4.
It's an equation of a line.
Right.
It's an equation of a vertical line.
Y equals 0.
Vertical lines are always x equals something. Horizontal lines are always y equals something.
Right.
So what's this? X equal what?
So it'd be, x equals 0.
That'd be the y-axis. My directrix is not sitting on the y-axis.
No, it'd be, well, would it be minus 4 then? For the...
Look at it. Where have I gone?
At positive 4.
Remember, the directrix is the same distance from the vertex, there's the vertex,
right,
as the focus is. Well, the focus is 4 units to the left. The directrix has to be 4 units to the right.
Yeah.
And I labeled the directrix. Or actually, I labeled where it crosses the x-axis. But the equation of that vertical line is x equal 4.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Let's see if we can get these last two in.
Yeah, definitely.
If I have this, and I want to solve by substitution, what's the next thing that I'm going to write?
We set them equal to each other.
Okay.
So it'd be...
I'm going to leave this on the left because I'm more comfortable having my quadratics on the left.
Okay.
Now what?
X minus 8 is equal to minus 3x plus 8. Oh yeah, we already got that, my bad.
Right. Now simplify. We got to solve for x. In other words, this says solve the system. That means we have to solve for x.
Okay, so we want to get we want to set it equal to 0, right? Like,
correct.
Put everything onto one side.
Correct.
So, okay, so it'd be x squared plus 6x is equal to 0, because...
Move the 8 over.
What's that?
This is a negative 8, that's a positive 8. They do not cancel.
So 16.
Minus 16.
So that'd be minus 16, yeah.
In other words, when I move that over, it becomes a positive 3x. And when I move that over, it becomes another negative 8.
Yeah.
Now factor.
Okay. Okay, so it'd be, let's see. Yeah, so it'd be x squared plus 6x plus 9.
Hold on. That's a quadratic. The quadratic
Well,
factors into two linear terms.
You
Linear
wouldn't want to
terms
complete this
means
square on
one,
this.
you have to have an x there and an x there.
Okay.
That's what makes it a linear term.
Yeah.
What are both signs?
One positive, one minus.
Good. Now, what's next?
And then we want to complete the square, right?
No, you're not
Well, no.
completing the square. You're just factoring.
Yeah.
The third step in factoring is factors of 16, the constant,
Right.
that subtract, because of that,
Mm-hmm.
to the number 6.
Yeah, so it'd be x.
What are two
So,
factors that subtract to the number 6? Factors of 6.
8 and 2.
Okay, where's the 8 go? Where's the 2 go?
The 2 goes on the left, 8,
No.
or minus.
The bigger factor goes with the sign of the middle term. The sign of the middle term is positive, so the 8 goes there.
Yeah.
And then I want to check it to make sure I got the right middle term. Well, that's, and this is the O and the I of FOIL. And that gives you the middle term of plus 6x, which we can see is correct.
Yep.
Therefore, we have factored it properly. What's my solution?
X equals minus 8 or 2.
Good.
Cool.
Let's solve the next one by graphing it. You have an Inspire or do you have a TI-84?
I think it's a TI-80. No, it's... I can't recall. I think it's TI Inspire.
Okay. Do you know how to graph on it?
I do, yeah.
In other words, if it's a TI-84, you're going to set y1 equal to the top equation, and you're going to set y2 equal to the second equation, and wherever they intersect, that's the solution set.
Exactly. Yeah, I know how to do that.
Okay. And whether you have an Inspire or a TI-84 doesn't matter. Do it the same way. Notice that we're looking at two quadratics. The top quadratic opens down.
Yep.
Looking something like that, maybe.
Yep.
The bottom quadratic opens up. Looking something like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's almost always going to be 2 points of intersection. That's the solution set. Now, the key is this is going to be an x sub 1 comma y sub 1. And this one over here is going to be another set of coordinates.
Okay.
Not the same. Probably y sub 1 equals y sub 2, because they appear to be the same height.
Yeah.
But the x coordinates are not the same. This one's going to be positive. This one would be negative. Okay? But your solution set is going to look something like 3 comma 5 is one solution, and another solution might be minus 4 comma 5. In other words, your solution set is one pair of xy coordinates and another pair of xy coordinates.
Okay.
The only way these two parabolas do not intersect at 2 points is if the top one exactly touched there at 1 point only, in which case we would only have one solution set. Or if it didn't intersect at all, we would have no solution.
Right.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the solution is because I could pull up Wolfram Alpha and graph both of these, and it would tell me where they intersect, but that doesn't do you a whole lot of good. You need to be able to do it on your own. And if you're not 100% sure you know how to do this, I would do this now.
Okay.
On your own. Just set one equation equal to that, set a second equation equal to that, graph them on the same xy coordinate, and then find the intersection points, which is easier to do with an Inspire than it is a TI-84. A TI-84 you'd have to pull up and ask for intersection, and it's going to put that stupid trace thing on there. Whereas a TI Inspire is a little more straightforward.
Okay.
Don't have to use the trace
Cool.
mechanism.
Mhm.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, so that first page, that is about an hour. It took us
Yeah.
an hour to cover it, and you knew some of it.
I did know some of it. I
Mark and
understand
I
a lot
didn't,
more.
Mark and I didn't get through this whole page even
Oh wow.
in an hour.
Yeah.
And he said there were 5 pages, so there's 4 more. But your test is tomorrow, is that right?
Yep. Exactly.
Well, hopefully,
Feel
this probably was the last page of your review material, I'm guessing.
it was.
This
Yeah.
probably is the harder of the material.
For sure.
Certainly some of these were particularly hard. 51 and 52 are hard, really hard.
They're
Just
really hard.
conceptually
Yeah.
they're hard. We didn't even go
Yeah.
through 52,
No.
but we went through 51.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right. Well,
Awesome.
that's pretty
Awesome.
good. I hope you're good on the other 4 pages.
I am. Yeah. I feel strong about them.
Good.
I feel
Good.
really good about them. So
Good
I
luck.
think I'm ready for this. Yeah.
All right, Dylan. Um,
Awesome.
I will, I guess, talk to you next week. Hold on a second. We're normally scheduled for Monday night.
We are. I don't think we're gonna have homework tomorrow.